Well, here I am again. Welcome to everyone, and thank you for all my new subscribers. And those of you who are returning, I'm grateful to you too. Today I'm going to be doing a couple of prints. The first one you'll see is an oil resist with a few layers, metallics added, and here we go. Okay, here we are. I'm using Amsterdam blue-gray for the bottom and the top. You'll see as I apply that over the top of the oil resist. I've used black and added water to it, so that's what, when it's introduced to the plate and the oiliness of the plate, that's what creates the sort of disbursement of the pigment. And you do have to let that dry. So it does form patience, I will say that. The middle section is parchment, and we'll just watch what happens. Okay, I think this is Fabriano. It's a hot press paper, and I'm really liking that. I ran out of my Somerset and I replaced it with a Blick watercolor paper that was a little less expensive, and I'm liking it too. I like the strength of it also. It has a little bit of a texture, or like a cold press paper, but this is hot press. It has a clean edge. It does not have deckled edges. And that's the way I can tell what kind of paper it is. And here's the print. I love the way this looks. There you go. I've already placed some of my hand-cut stencils, and you're going to see me apply way too much paint here. And I end up having to offload the majority of it. This is raw sienna from Blick, the Blick acrylic, and I think that was bronze or copper, little pieces of copper that I added there for just a little variation. But it was definitely too much paint. That particular paint from Blick has the viscosity of it is so different from what I'm used to. It's much more fluid. And if you watch Fulton on his channel, he uses it a lot. He's very good with it. I just have not become accustomed to working with that paint, but it's growing on me. Okay. This is going to bring the first layer around the stencils onto my blue-gray and my parchment layer. That was the first layer on top of the oil resist. Now this is the second layer, and I'm still working to remove that paint. I do like my stencils that I'm using. People ask me what I use for my stencils, and I started using the plastic subject dividers, the little folders, that you can get in school supplies for the children. And I like those because of the way that they stick to the plate. But after using them for a while and leaving them in water too long, they start to curl. So I have begun using Mylar, even though it's clear and I can't really see it very well on the plate. That's what I favor right now, is the Mylar. I also found some colored Mylar. It has sort of a colored skin over it, and I think it's what you use to tint lighting if you were doing any kind of video work, or let's see, what would I call it, stage lighting or things like that. I found some of those, and I started cutting those. And you'll find that when you put those in water, that little film, after soaking, it does slide off, and then you're just left. At first I kind of thought, uh-oh, I'm not going to use these anymore. But after that film comes off, you still have the colored Mylar, and you can see it much easier than you can the clear. So I'm still enjoying those, and they seem to be holding up very well in my washing and in my habit of letting them soak. Okay. Clean my edge. I'm learning. Especially when you use too much paint, there's always an excess on the edge of the plate. I do have a bib. I do have a bib around it, but still trying to be aware of my edges. So we'll see how this pull goes. Okay, so we're going to let that sit for a few minutes, and now I'm going to pull this print, and as I pull it across, you're going to be able to see the metallic of the copper that I added with that raw sienna. I love that shine. It kind of brings everything to life when you add a metallic. You have that nice tension, or the contrast between the matte and the sheen. Closer view. There. Okay. Now you'll see that I've already laid down some new stencils, and this will be another layer. This time I'm going to add, let's see, copper and gold, an iridescent gold. Copper at the bottom and the top, and the iridescent gold will be in the middle. So this will be a metallic layer. And I really do like the way that these interact with one another. One of the things that I've learned through this printmaking process is I have a lot of prints that I did in the early stages that I didn't like as much, or that I tore when I was pulling the print. And some of them I have repurposed. Some of them I have added more layers till I did like them. But some of them I have cut, and I'm actually using them for collage fodder. And I'm making greeting cards out of my prints. Just cutting them in various sizes and using some of my gel prints to my smaller papers, my collage papers, to compose some compositions for greeting cards. So you might try that too if you are learning and you're frustrated with the learning curve and you have a lot of paper that you prints that you're not pleased with, and you find you have work sitting around that you don't know what to do with. There's always something that you can do. Here I'm removing stencils. I think I forget one on this pull. It's really easy to do, to forget one, and I did on this one. I know some of you are nervous when you see me bring my X-Acto knife close to the plate to take the stencils off, but I think I'm okay with using it. I have not scraped my plate or cut myself, or I still find it easier to use than anything else. So I'm just having to be very careful. If you're using an X-Acto knife, you do want to be very careful. Okay, here we go. We're going to be laying this down and seeing how this final layer interacts. Move those pieces of paper out of the way. Okay, you're going to see me pull this print now, and you'll see the interaction of the two metallic layers, the two warm layers interacting with the cool layers underneath. You'll see the hard edges interacting with the pigment dispersion of the oil resist. So it's kind of creating this tension that I like. I don't know if I'm going to let this be a standalone print and enjoy the simplicity of that, or if I'm going to do any more mark making. I'm just evaluating it right now. You can tell me what you think. I sort of like it, the simplicity of it as it is. But right now you're going to see me try to retrieve some of this metallic paint that's left on the plate, and instead of using one of my bigger pieces of paper, I'm going to be using copy paper, and I have found that to be more workable for me. I'm using the teal paint here, and I'm just going to pull prints from the top portion of the plate, and I sort of am working a little too slowly here because I end up having a tear or two. You do have to kind of be quick about it. But I'm enjoying using the copy paper, and then I don't feel quite so wasteful, or I can use it for collage paper. You can see I spend a little bit too much time rubbing here, and it does begin to stick. Okay. There are my stencils that I've already placed, and I'm going to be putting this is a color that I don't often use, but I mixed it myself and put it in the bottle. This is quinacridone magenta, and I end up adding some more paint because I didn't really get enough there. And you'll see I eventually just begin to squirt the mixture on top of that and just mix the whole thing. But I'm going to be placing this first layer on top of another oil resist, and I did not film it. I think I used black and Payne's gray for it, and it ended up making a really interesting oil resist. I think I was really reviewing some previous videos of Fulton's about the oil resist method, and I was trying to remember it, and I kind of did my own thing and I messed up. But I got a really interesting texture, which you'll see when I show it to you before I place this print. We'll just see how it goes here. My trusty comb, which I enjoy putting the linear movement in the layer with. One of my favorite tools. I get to still be a hairdresser. I still get to use some of my favorite tools of the trade when I use my comb on the plate. I spent 43 years as a hairstylist, so it's kind of hard to get away from some of my favorite tools. One of the new things that I'm doing now with my stencil placements is I'm actually placing stencils on top of the print that I'm just sort of doing a dress rehearsal, if you will, so that I get to see about the placement. And of course, when I come to the plate, I have to reverse them so that they end up printing properly. But I'm finding that very helpful. Before there's that oil resist with the funky texture. Anyway, you'll see. And the final layer will be another metallic, which really just, to me, like I said before, brings everything to life. So now you get to see what this nice little purple color looks like on top of that oil resist. And it looks like there is a little bit of copper showing through that I used, or maybe it was just from the plate. But I really like that. I'm sorry that I'm moving that paper around so much. It kind of makes me feel drunk looking at it. But I apologize. I don't always have my piece of cardboard underneath the print so that it helps me support the paper, and I try to keep it from flopping around. This is the last pull, and this is my metallic layer. I guess I didn't film the stencil placement or putting down the copper and the gold. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. Must have been another print. But as you can see, it has some really good interaction. The metallic with the flat and the hard edges with the oil resist. So those are those tensions that I'm enjoying creating. Thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe and share, and have a blessed creative time.